Hello everyone, I'm Dan Baker. I'm going to show you how to use an if statement in Microsoft Excel. It's one of the most powerful tools available to you when you're using Microsoft Excel, and basically it's a decision tree. You ask whether or not a particular thing is true, and if it is true, then you do something accordingly. If it is not true, then you do something else, right? It's simple as that. Let me show you what that's actually going to look like. In Microsoft Excel, you know what? Maybe we'll do something from the real world first. What do you think? I'm going to move this out of the way. Move that over there, right? And I'm going to say, okay, I want this cell to look at this cell, and if the word red appears in here, then over here, I want to write the word stop. But if it does not say the word red over here, I want it to do nothing, right? We'll figure that out later. Right now, it's just if it's red, we're going to stop. Otherwise, do nothing, right? So this is a very basic if statement, but it's very cool because it's one cell looking at another cell and acting according to what it finds. So when you're going to do a function in Microsoft Excel, you begin with the name of the function. Right, so and it's going to be capital letters, so we're going to go capital if, right? And functions have arguments, and those arguments go within parentheses. So you might as well do your opening and your closing parentheses now, because if you do your opening parentheses and then type your arguments, you may forget to close it off with closing parentheses. So it's better to type both the opening and closing parentheses now, and then relocate your cursor in between them before you start writing in the arguments. Now, what do I mean when I say arguments? I mean, we need to test, right? If you look over here, we need to test. That's one of our arguments. Then we have to create an additional argument as to what to do if it's true, and another argument as to what to do if it's false. So the first argument is, let's see, this is cell D5, but we're checking the value of B5. So the argument for this condition is if cell B5 is equal to the word red, okay, that's our test. Okay, the only thing is that in this case, because we're doing something real world, we're actually using text rather than numbers. Excel prefers to work with numbers. It works with numbers quite well. If you're going to use text, that's fine, but you have to tell Microsoft Excel that you're using text. And you do that by enclosing the text in quotation marks. So we have to do an opening quotation mark here and a closing quotation mark here. All of our text has to go within quotation marks, right? So we've done that. Now, our test then is if B5 equals red, right? That's our test. So when we finish that part of the argument, we separate it from the next part of the argument using a comma. And if you see that first comma, you should think and hear the word then, right? Because if this is true, then we're going to do something else, right? So what we're going to do with this next argument is what we're going to do if it is true. Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to put more text in. So we're going to do opening and closing quotation marks, right? So opening, you might as well do both of them and then relocate the cursor, right? So we're going to put in the word stop in capital letters with an exclamation point, right? So that's our second argument. So now we're going to do our third argument. So we need another comma to separate this section or this argument from the one that's coming. So we're going to do a comma, and when you see that second comma, you should think to yourself the word else. I usually think of the word otherwise. It's kind of the same thing, right? Because if B5 equals red, then stop. Otherwise, do something else, right? So I like the word otherwise whenever I see that comma. Either way, you're going to write in here what you're going to do if B5 is not red, if it's false. Now, in our case right now, what we want to do is nothing. And the only way to really do that in Microsoft Excel is to do quote, quote with nothing in between it, right? So quote, quote, that says don't do anything. Don't put anything in this cell. If you don't put this double quotes here, then Microsoft Excel will run the test, and if it comes up false, it's going to write false in big capital letters in your cell, and you don't want that, right? But if you put quote, quote, then it just puts nothing there, right? We are now done. We have done an if statement. All we have to do now is hit enter to activate it. And oops, oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. Anytime you do a formula or a function in Microsoft Excel, you have to begin with an equal sign. And I didn't, so I'm going to go, you got to double click in the cell here. I'm going to go back over here to the end and type an equal sign. Now Microsoft Excel understands that this is a function. Before it was just a string of text. Now it's a function. So now when I hit enter, boom, now we have our if statement. You can't see anything because there's nothing over here and it's false. And remember we said if it's false, do nothing. Well, it's false, so it's not doing anything. But if over here we make sure that it's true, so we type the word red and hit enter, well, then it's going to show the word stop. Right? So that's basically an if statement in Microsoft Excel, and you can see it up here now because now it's going to show values, but the actual formula is still up here in the formula bar or the function. And so it's if B5 equals the string of RED, right? The string of letters RED. If it does, then that's true, so you're going to put in the string of letters stop with an exclamation point. Otherwise, do nothing. And that's what we've done here, right? So that is an if statement in Microsoft Excel. In the next video, I will show you how to do nested if statements so that we can not only test for whether the light is red, but we'll test for whether or not the light is yellow and what to do in that case, or whether the light is green and what to do in that case. But we're going to do that in the next video. So thanks for watching this, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.